You want the moon? Just say the word and I'll throw a lasso around it and pull it down.
Look at the stars. The great kings of the past look down on us from those stars. So whenever you feel alone, just remember that those kings will always be there to guide you.
I don't think it is very useful to speculate on what God might or might not be able to do. Rather, we should examine what he actually does with the universe we live in.
We are all explorers, driven to know what's over the horizon. The most profound discoveries are not necessarily beyond that next star. They're within us, woven into the threads that bind us.
Good afternoon and happy Monday. How is everybody feeling after this holiday weekend packed full of some pretty intense transits? We had Saturn square Uranus overnight on Christmas Eve, so that's been bringing quite a bit of tension over the past week or so, and will continue to bring some tension until the 31st, so until the new year. And then also Venus went retrograde. We had that Venus retrograde conjunct Pluto on Christmas Day, which might have brought about some intense emotions, some intense nostalgia. Maybe you heard from people from your past, you started acting like a past version of yourself. Venus retrograde has been a doozy so far, and it remains retrograde until the end of January. But today we have a little bit of a calm after the storm. We're still feeling that energy of Saturn square Uranus, but no super intense transits today. We do have one connection to talk about with Jupiter before it moves into Pisces tomorrow. So that'll bring a major shift in energy, and we'll go deep into what it means when Jupiter is in Pisces tomorrow. But Jupiter does make one final connection before it moves into a new sign while it's still in Aquarius. And we'll talk about that. The moon is in Libra, so it's bringing some nice, peaceful, balanced vibes for us after Christmas. Definitely welcome. And I'm also going to take you through a little overview of the week ahead. So let's start with that. Let's talk about what's going on with the major planets. So today we're going to start talking about Jupiter square the North Node and simultaneously squaring the South Node, bringing an awareness to our direction, our future, our purpose, and our past, our karma. So we might be feeling that a little bit today. That square was exact at 12:30. We'll talk about that more in a second. And then tomorrow, Jupiter enters Pisces. So that's going to bring really nice, hopeful, optimistic vibes. Definitely a period of spiritual expansion, more sensitivity, more emotion over the next few months especially, but while Jupiter remains in Pisces, I believe the next 6 months or so. We got to look into that a little bit more tomorrow. And then Wednesday, we have a conjunction between Mercury and Venus. Thursday, we have a conjunction between Mercury and Pluto. So middle of the week, we're really going to feel Mercury's energy play into the conjunction, the Venus-Pluto conjunction we felt on Christmas Day over the weekend. Friday is the last day of 2021, which is mind-blowing, crazy to believe. And the moon moves into Sagittarius, really setting a nice tone, a nice fun tone for your New Year's Eve celebrations. Saturday, the first day of 2022, Mercury enters Aquarius. So we have a nice change of energy for the first day of the year, expanding our thoughts a little bit, allowing us to think and speak a little bit differently while Mercury is in Aquarius for the next 3 weeks or so. And then Sunday, the second day of 2022, we have a new moon in Capricorn. So the transits are really shaping up nicely to bring us fresh energy right when the new year hits. It's funny how that works sometimes. The transits are really playing into what's going on the regular, calendar. Let's go into what the moon is doing too, so you can get a look ahead at that. So today we have the third quarter moon, or the last quarter moon in Libra. Might be feeling a little bit more indecisive, but also just trying to find that balance and harmony while the moon is in Libra is a really nice objective. Tuesday, the 28th, the moon moves into Scorpio. And after the last quarter moon is when we're really invited to surrender. Scorpio rules power and control. So Tuesday, Wednesday, really a time to let go and surrender control, reflect on the year, maybe do some final introspective work in the middle of this week leading up to the new year. Thursday and Friday, the moon moves into Sagittarius, as I was just talking about, allowing us to just kind of be free a little bit, let loose a little bit for New Year's Eve. And Sagittarius also rules our faith. So when the moon moves into Sagittarius the last couple days of the year, we might feel more optimistic and hopeful about 2022, especially with Jupiter just moving into Pisces. Saturday and Sunday, the moon is in Capricorn. This is the new moon. So really wiping the slate clean, looking ahead to 2022, thinking about our long-term goals for the new year, and just kind of having a more practical view of what the next year will bring by the end of next weekend. So like I said, this is really shaping up to bring a nice clean slate for us for 2022. We have a new moon the second day of the year. Jupiter's in Pisces, bringing optimistic vibes. We really have a nice week ahead in the transits. And of course, we'll dive into each transit a little bit more deeply the next couple of days. But let's talk about today first. So bringing up our chart here, let's see if it'll load. We have Jupiter right here, 29 degrees in Aquarius, squaring the north and south nodes. So this is actually called a T-square when there's one planet squaring two other points on the astrology chart. And just a little refresher, the north and south nodes represent our purpose. The north node, the lessons we're here to learn in this lifetime. The south node represents our past, our karma, even past lives. So when we have Jupiter squaring both of these points on the chart, it's bringing awareness to how much we've grown in the past and how much more we want to expand in the future. So Jupiter is the planet of abundance. It's the planet of optimism. This is making us feel a little bit more optimistic about 2022. This is also a really great chance, as Jupiter is squaring the south node, to reflect back on 2021. How have you grown? How have you expanded over the past year? While Jupiter's been in Aquarius, Aquarius is the sign of thinking differently, different perspectives, innovating, being part of a collective. How has your view of yourself within humanity, the collective, changed in 2021? I know a lot of us view our place in the world a little bit differently after the past couple years while Jupiter's been in Aquarius. And looking ahead, we know Jupiter's getting ready to move into Pisces. You might already be feeling that energy. Jupiter is nice and comfortable in Pisces. It's at home in Pisces. It allows us to just totally be optimistic and, be hopeful, have faith in the future. So today is a really great day to sort of be in the middle of those two things, the past and the future. And while you're in that position, reflect on how much you've grown and how much more you want to grow. Seeing how much you've expanded already shows you how much more expansion you're capable of in the future. The moon moved into Libra yesterday, so that was kind of a nice come down off of all the energy on Christmas Day. The moon was in Virgo on Christmas, definitely more analytical in our heads, even critical, very practical energy, while the moon is in Virgo, very detail oriented. When the moon moves into Libra, we're still aware of the details, but we can just kind of find more balance and harmony in whatever we're doing. So today is that last quarter moon, officially, the third quarter moon. And this is a time of release. This is the moon's peak release. After today is a time to surrender. What's really beautiful, though, about the last quarter moon being in Libra is that, this moon phase can allow an opportunity for forgiveness as well. Libra is ruled by Venus, the sign of relationships. Venus is retrograde. You might have run into a few snags in your relationships, not just romantic relationships, but friendships, family relationships. If there were any difficulties that came up over the holidays, especially with that Venus-Pluto conjunction on Christmas while Venus is retrograde, this could be a great opportunity to just let it go, forgive, make amends, find harmony, find peace again in those relationships. So while the last quarter moon is in Libra, think about how can you surrender more? As Gabby Bernstein loves to say, when you think you've surrendered, surrender more. How can you let go a little bit more? And how can you try to find some balance in this last week of 2021 so you can start 2022 with that clean slate, with that blank slate? That's what the last quarter moon in Libra is asking of us. The moon made a connection to Mars overnight, 1 a.m. for us in Pacific time. So really early morning on the East Coast. If you live, overseas across the pond, this might have been early morning for you. But the moon, the Libra moon, got support, a sextile from Mars in Sagittarius. So that could have looked like some restlessness, maybe a burst of energy early this morning, depending on where you live. Or it could have looked like not being able to sleep in the middle of the night at 1 a.m. if you live in the Pacific time zone. Then at 5 a.m. Pacific, so a little later on in the morning for those of you in other parts of the country or other parts in the world, the moon formed a nice harmonious angle to Saturn. So you can see the moon here in Libra, Saturn is in Aquarius. When the moon was at 11 degrees in Libra, we saw a trine to Saturn, both of these bodies in air signs. What does that mean? Well, you might have had a harder time getting going today because Saturn likes to slow us down. I know, I posted on Instagram this morning, like, gosh, the day after Christmas or the Monday after Christmas, I cannot get into work mode. But I ended up getting into a kind of nice, slow and steady pace. And you might have felt that as well. Your day getting a slow and steady start with the moon forming this harmonious angle to Saturn. Now, this is a positive aspect. So even if you were begrudgingly getting going this morning, you were probably very aware of your responsibilities and might have had a little bit more patience than you expected to be able to get through them. The moon is also in Libra, which makes us a little bit more indecisive, especially if we're emotional. It can be harder to make a decision when the moon is in Libra, but Saturn's influence early this morning helped us make some more decisions, set some plans. Tonight, 9 p.m. Pacific, so midnight Eastern, tomorrow morning, for those of you who live on the other side of the world, the moon forms an awkward angle to Neptune. So when the Libra moon hits 20 degrees, let's jump ahead a couple hours, you can see this awkward angle to Neptune, not quite an opposition, just one sign off. That's what we call a quincunx or an inconjunct angle. And that means that both of these energies are working towards different goals. It's hard for them to find common ground. So when that happens, if it's late at night for you, it might be harder for you to actually fall asleep because, our emotions, we might be thinking a lot, or it might just be kind of hard to fully tap into that subconscious. It also might be harder to find balance between your subconscious and your rational mind. So, for me personally, I tend to overthink when I lay down to go to sleep. So that might be coming up for you tonight, depending on where you live. Or if you're already asleep, this might not affect you too much. Could look like some odd dreams maybe because Neptune is involved, but that shouldn't impact you too much. The moon squares off to Mercury at midnight for those of us here on the Pacific coast, the West Coast. If you live in another part of the world, this would look like Tuesday morning for you. So the moon forms this awkward angle, or this harsh angle, I should say, to Mercury and Capricorn. And when Mercury is in Capricorn, we're much more practical. Our rational mind definitely takes over in conversation and in thoughts. So you can see Mercury at 22 degrees in Capricorn. When the moon hits 22 degrees, these two bodies are at a 90-degree angle with one another, and that brings a clash of energies. So Mercury and Capricorn tends to make our thoughts a little bit more negative. It reminds us of our limits. It reminds us of our worries. If this is late at night for you, again, you might be lying awake or having a hard time falling asleep, thinking of all your responsibilities, all the things you need to do. If it's Tuesday morning for you and you live closer to Greenwich Mean Time, this could just be some negativity earlier in the morning, or when the moon squares off to Mercury, it can feel like we want to express our emotions, but they're not quite coming out how we want them to, or it could feel like we need to express our emotions. A square brings urgency. It wants us to take action. So, we might not fully understand how we're feeling or being able to make decisions because the moon is in Libra, but Mercury and Capricorn wants us to make a decision, wants us to move forward. And so you might have a hard time discerning your thoughts and your feelings. Decision making might be kind of hard if this is happening tomorrow morning and you live, somewhere in Europe, or if you start your day very, very early on the East Coast. But overall today, we don't have too difficult of transits. We do have some squares, which could bring tension, but compared to what we went through over the weekend with Saturn square Uranus, which again, I know I keep saying this, but we're still feeling Saturn squaring off to Uranus. So there's still that tension between the old and the new. And we might be feeling that a little bit more with Jupiter squaring off to the North and South node as well, activating our past versions of ourselves and our future versions of ourselves. So give yourself grace, really lean into that last quarter moon energy, the Libra moon, letting us find peace, letting us release, allowing us to let go, just really, toning things down a bit, hopefully. It also depends on where Libra is in your chart. If a lot of your planets are activated, if you have a lot of planets in Libra, you might be feeling this Libra moon a little bit more than some other people. But overall, Libra energy, I kind of see this as a sigh of relief after a really, really, really intense weekend. So yeah, let me know if you felt any of that energy over the weekend. How did your holidays go? Were there any clashes between generations? Were there any intense emotions? That would have been par for the course if you felt those things. So that was actually a pretty quick look at what's going on with the transits. Let's do an overview and then we'll pull a card. And if you have any questions, throw them in the comments, let me know, and I'll make sure to answer them before we end the stream. So today is the last day Jupiter is in Aquarius. And on this last day, Jupiter forms a square to both the North Node at the same time as the South Node. This allows us to reflect on how much we've grown in 2021 while looking forward to 2022 and thinking of all the ways we can expand even further. The last quarter moon is in Libra, allowing us to release, let go, surrender, and try to find some more balance and harmony before the new moon and the new year. The moon does make some awkward connections today, nothing that should ruffle feathers too much. We had some activating energy overnight last night, late tonight, and overnight is when the moon really gets active again. So nothing midday that should activate your emotions too much. Just really focus on releasing, letting go, leaning into that nice balanced Libra energy over the next couple days. Tomorrow, we'll talk all about Jupiter moving into Pisces, what that means, why everybody's so excited and hopeful about this transit as we look ahead to 2022. I've heard a lot of astrologers talking about Jupiter in Pisces already, and just how much nicer it's going to be, the energy is going to feel. All right, today I'm going to pull from the Spirit Animal Oracle deck because I'm here in Arizona, in a more rural area of the state, and we haven't seen too much wildlife just yet, but I know they're out here. We're backing up to some mountains, so other than our little wild dogs, I'm sure there's some wildlife out here. So while I'm shuffling, let me know if you have any other questions, how your Christmas went. If it went smoothly and you weren't affected by the transits at all, I envy you. I'm pretty sure everyone here felt the transits at one point or another, felt that intense energy, that conjunction between Venus and Pluto, that square between Saturn and Uranus. Just really looking forward to the abundant, optimistic energy of Jupiter in Pisces, for sure. All right, what do we need to know today? Ooh, Koala Spirit, and it says Spirit has a plan. This is card number 35. All right, let's find out what the message is. The Koala Spirit. It's funny because I just saw, I know this isn't like that random, but I just saw a picture of a koala on Instagram this morning. All right, Koala Spirit. Spirit has a plan. In nature, the koala moves slowly through the branches of the eucalyptus tree, leisurely chewing the leaves, reminding us that life is not a race or competition. Chasing around after every distraction can keep us from recognizing that we have all we need and that spirit will always be there with gifts to sustain us. You are being asked to trust that by moving slowly, with faith in the abundance that is everywhere, surrendering to a power greater than yourself, you will be able to experience the manifestation of your desire. As you take your time enjoying the riches available to you right now, sitting peacefully, you begin to radiate the joy and abundance you seek. Spirit is here to help you discover happiness, pleasure, and contentment, all gifts that are yours now and in the future. Have faith and trust in Spirit's plan for you, and know that you are loved and cherished. It's always a perfect card, especially today. I mean, it doesn't get much more perfect than that. And I love that the message says, reminding us that life is not a race or competition. We're in Capricorn season. Mercury is in Capricorn, Venus is in Capricorn, Pluto is in Capricorn, the sun is in Capricorn, the moon will be in Capricorn this weekend. Okay, you get it. We have a ton of Capricorn energy. Capricorn is very competitive, right? It reminds us of that ladder. It reminds us of how we're climbing, where we're going. And this card is here to remind you, especially while the moon is in Libra today, it's not a race. Just be where you are. Sit in that stillness. Find balance in the stillness. And, it says right now, sitting peacefully, you begin to radiate the joy and abundance you seek. I love how this also says sitting peacefully, representing this Libra moon that is lighting up the sky right now. And if you can find that inner balance and that inner harmony with the moon in Libra, you can also manifest more easily, right? If you are content and peaceful with where you are now, you're in the energy of receiving. And that is that Libra energy of being in the energy of receiving just by being content in this current moment. So the Koala Spirit is reminding us to move slowly through your day, move slowly through the week. There's no rush to get to 2022. Really savor this last week of the year. And I think when Jupiter moves into Pisces, we'll be able to do that a little bit more easily too. So I hope that kind of got you in the energy for the week. I know we did an afternoon live stream today, a little later than normal. We'll be back with a morning live stream tomorrow. But I'm on the road, so we're streaming when we can. We're setting up in random places. I did not set up this tree, another tree that I did not put up. I hope you have a beautiful week. I hope the energy this week is a little bit calmer than what we felt over the weekend. And thank you. I'm growing out my hair, and this is the support I need right now. So thank you. All right, everybody. I hope you had a nice, easy Monday getting into the work week after a packed holiday weekend, an intense holiday weekend. Maybe you haven't gone back to work yet, but today's energy could just be a nice day to, again, sit in that peace, find that inner balance before you dive right back in. And tomorrow we'll experience a major shift in energy. So we'll be talking all about Jupiter and Pisces tomorrow. And I'll be back in front of this really beautiful white tree, So tune in tomorrow morning around 8:15, 8:30. We'll be talking all about that. But until then, I will see you in the next video. Stay curious. Thank you so much for joining us and aligning with the energy of the universe today. If you enjoyed this morning's episode of Transits Today, you can join our live astrology discussion every weekday morning right here wherever you're watching. And head to thespiritualjournalist.com to read your daily astrology forecast and browse the Spiritual Shop. The most fun way to help keep these forecasts free and support more content like this is to buy yourself a little something on our website. But if you're feeling extra generous, you can also buy me a coffee to fuel future live streams. Just tap the link in the description or head to buymeacoffee.com and search The Spiritual Journalist. And speaking of, you can also tune in to The Spiritual Journalist, our weekly live interview where we ask our guests questions about everything from crystals and manifestation to mental health and the environment. Those conversations stream live right here wherever you're watching now every Tuesday. I'm so grateful you found us here, and I can't wait for our next conversation.